You've found Chop, the original Guillotine League podcast. Everything you need to know to avoid the chopping block. Chop is brought to you by GuillotineLeagues.com. Now, your host, Paul Charchian.
Welcome to Chop, the Guillotine League Podcast. I am Paul Charchian. Joining me, as he does every Tuesday, it is Brian Johnson. Hey, buddy. Now, in Charlotte, is it McMillan Mania?
You do not call him Tet, Charge. Do you not know this yet? His mom will get mad at you if you call him Tet. He does not like to be called Tet. It's Tetairoa.
I'll take my chances because I think I can take her.
I don't know. She gets pretty like there was a press conference and a reporter called him Tet, and he directed the reporter to his mom, and she's like, she'll tell you why. And she's like, you do not call him Tet. He wants Tetairoa or T-Mac. He'll go by T-Mac. Now, I'm old enough to remember Tracy McGrady as T-Mac, but
yes, he's the T-Mac, right? You can't take that away from Tracy McGrady.
Well, I used to argue that T-Mac was going to be better than Kobe, and I failed on that one. So I'll call Tetairoa T-Mac now because the original T-Mac failed me. Kobe outshined him big time. What sport are we covering here? Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, well, look, guillotine basketball, who knows? I mean, that is something that absolutely could happen, and we would welcome the opportunity, honestly. I mean, I play fantasy basketball. I'm not great at it, but I play. We could do it.
Back to the Panthers, though. Yes, there is hype. There is hype in the city. Unlike last year, dead around Charlotte, Panther talk, but there is hype around Tetairoa and the whole passing game, which we will talk about a little later.
Yes. We are going to talk about, because this show's focus is on rookies. Today, we're going to look at the 10 top drafted rookies in Guillotine League drafts, including Tetairoa McMillan. Would we risk these rookies on our own rosters, Brian? You and I. Now, rookies are highly dangerous in Guillotine, even really good ones. We'll talk it through, give you a baseline, and then we'll talk through the 10 top drafted rookies in Guillotine League drafts. Now, as a reminder, at GuillotineLeagues.com, there are 3 ways to play: free public leagues, free private leagues that you play with your friends, up to 18 teams, or paid leagues for prizes, all at GuillotineLeagues.com. Brian, rookies are highly dangerous in Guillotine, even really good ones. With 18 teams, rosters are very thin. They get thin fast. Think Parker Posey double fisting Ozempic, and you've got the right idea. Any one bad pick in your draft could result in a chop. And a lot of times we get driven to rookies, even in talented ones, because we identify the talent, Brian, and we want to draft them where we would draft them in redraft. But this is a different scenario here with Guillotine.
Yeah, anyone you take in the first 8 rounds, you're drafting as a starter. You got to be very cautious with those picks. And we should just touch on it on high level. Rookies aside, do not draft depth in a Guillotine League. Fill your starting lineup before you draft depth in a Guillotine League. Just get that out of the way. Cement that in your head. But yeah, rookies, very, very high variance. We usually kind of poo-poo drafting them, but I think there's a few this year that are worth it. There
might be a couple of exceptions. At your Guillotine draft, your focus is on September. We've talked about this on Chop many times. And a little bit into October, but really that first quarter or third of the season is about all you're really focused on, because your team's going to change so much that it doesn't matter. And you don't want to have to spend your way out of bad draft picks in September and October. You want to be holding that fab for later in the year. Typically, rookies are given limited touches in their first month. And a lot of times rookies just aren't that good early in their career, and they get better over time, of course. And one of the key things that I want to emphasize as we talk about rookies, Brian, unlike a regular draft, the draft isn't your last shot to get these rookies or any other player in Guillotine, and that's part of what makes the Guillotine system so much fun.
Yeah, no doubt. Just, if you don't get them on draft day, they're always going to be available. Or not always, usually going to be available. Just don't go on tilt because you didn't get your guy. He's still going to be out there one day, as long as you survive.
I would say 90% of the time, when looking at a rookie, the right play is not to draft the rookie, or at least not at his ADP. And then when he starts inconsistently, like most rookies do, he gets chopped. That manager gets chopped, and now he's on the waiver wire, and you can reassess that rookie based on what you know through 3 weeks of the season.
Yep.
And you can decide, okay, he's trending the right way. I think he's going to get more playing time. I'm going to push in some fab now in week 3 for this rookie now that he's been chopped. Or alternately, you could go, oh, thank God I did not draft that rookie, and he's on the waiver wire, and I'm out. I'm going to let somebody else roll the dice again, and then maybe this rookie shows up on the waiver wire 2-3 weeks later. Who knows?
Yeah, totally agree with you. Now, after all that,
yeah, yes, there's still
who's
some
the first rookie we're going to talk about?
Well, I'm going to get to Ashton Jeanty in just a second, because I think he's going to be an outlier case. Let me give you a little data from last year.
Okay.
We're going to look for rookies who were good in September last year and actually maintained the success all season. Now, your entire draft class of quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends last year was over 80 players at fantasy positions. The number of them that were actually good in September and stayed that way were 4. That's it. 4. And those players represent, and by the way, 4 is an outlier. Most years, it's like 2 or maybe 3 rookies. That's it. We had 4 last year: Jayden Daniels, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers, who started the season well and continued. But listen to I'm just going to give you the rookies who didn't pan out, that people were talking about and people wanted and put on their rosters, and in many cases depended upon. These are all players who went in the first 4 rounds of the NFL draft last year and killed your fantasy teams in Guillotine. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Marvin Harrison, Michael Penix, Rome Odunze, J.J. McCarthy, if you drafted him before he got hurt, Bo Nix, Xavier Worthy, Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Legette, Keon Coleman, Ladd McConkey, Jalen Polk, A.D. Mitchell, Malachi Corley, Jermaine Burton, Roman Wilson, Jalen McMillan, Luke McCaffrey, Troy Franklin, Jatavian Sanders, Javon Baker, Bucky Irving, Will Shipley, Ray Davis, Isaac Garendo, Braylon Allen. Those are just the rookies from the top 4 rounds who flopped early in the season, even if they were good later, like Ladd McConkey and Bo Nix and Bucky Irving, good later, but they flopped early, Brian. I need to take a breather from all that talking.
Yeah.
Fill in a few seconds here.
I think you just labeled the whole draft there. Yeah, and obviously those weren't in those were the order they were drafted in reality, not in fantasy. But there are a lot of big names in there. Of course, Marvin Harrison was I think the highest drafted rookie last year. Yeah. He was going in the first round, killed people. Mm-hmm. Really never helped people, even if you picked them up later, just miraculously a couple weeks. But yeah, there's a lot of risk, and you said, you just want to lay in the weeds and just kind of see how these guys are panning out. But I will throw darts at rookies later in the draft. But these rookies going in the first 8 rounds, you got to be really, really careful. Walk on eggshells when you're hovering that click, hovering your button over draft on some of these rookies. But there are some might be willing to pay the price.
And now is the time for our segue to Ashton Jeanty. So his ADP right now is pick 9. And for each of these guys, Brian, I want to know, would you take them for your own roster at ADP? And by the way, when we talk about rounds, remember Guillotine League rounds are 18 teams deep. Yeah. And so when we talk about a guy going in, like round 6, that's like round 10 of a standard draft. Yeah. So, bear that in mind when we talk rounds. We are talking Guillotine 18 team rounds. So Ashton Jeanty, round 1, pick 9, Brian.
Well, actually, I changed my mind after watching his first preseason game. 3 carries. So I'm entirely out.
That's it. Yeah.
Some people have that mentality. It's totally insane. I've seen a dip in Jeanty stock. I'm buying all day long, but we're downplaying rookies this whole time drafting them. There was a comparable rookie a couple years ago by the name of Bijan Robinson, who he was kind of a flop out of the gates. We expected bell cow usage from Robinson, but he split a lot of work with Tyler Algier, who actually had more touches in the first few weeks. But I still don't see that happening with Jeanty. If he's not getting a minimum of 20 touches, 25 opportunities, carries plus targets in the opener against New England on the road, not a great matchup. I I don't care about the match really with him. It's the guaranteed volume. He's going to get it. So he has to have a safe floor, even as a rookie. We said the same thing about Bijan Robinson, I know, but this is different. I don't care. It's got to be different. I will take Jeanty at ADP. He's got some nice matchups in his first 4 games after New England, Washington and Chicago. Very soft run defenses. I mean, he's going to get the rock. He's a great player. I do not care about the 3 preseason carries for 0 yards or -1 yards, whatever. I am in on Jeanty at ADP in round 1.
Yep, I am too. I'll take him on my team at ADP 9 in a Guillotine League draft, and this is rare for me. Let me mention, because you brought up the first round. You brought up Bijan Robinson's name, who's going 3rd overall in Guillotine League drafts, and it reminds me of this. If we go through if we were to look at the first round of today's drafts, almost everybody underperformed in their first month. You mentioned Bijan Robinson, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson was an underperformer. Jahmyr Gibbs was inconsistent. Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't bloom for 2-3 years. Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry couldn't get time away from DeMarco Murray his first year. Almost all of the great players at the top of your drafts were not reliable producers as rookies. The second player you, the public, are taking, rookies that you're taking, is Chargers running back Omarion Hampton. ADP is 45, so there's a big gap after Jeanty, down to 45. That's round 3. He's Matthew Berry's ride or die. With Najee Harris unable to practice, it's giving Hampton all the first team reps. That is a massive advantage for a rookie who would otherwise be splitting evenly, probably the first team snaps. At best, splitting evenly. So what it's going to do, Hampton is going to roll into the season as the Chargers' most seasoned runner with the starting offense. That's an awfully good sign. Now, remember, Najee Harris also new to the Chargers. So he hasn't had the luxury of working in this new Greg Roman offense. He's going to have to try to learn it on the fly, and that's not going to happen in week 1 unless he gets back to practice pretty soon. And then you've got the loss of left tackle Rashawn Slater. That certainly hurts. And that could add some inconsistency to Omarion Hampton's output, because the whole offense is going to be less consistent with your best offensive lineman and your blindside tackle gone. Brian, last thing I'll mention here about Omarion Hampton. Greg Roman, very run heavy as offensive coordinator for Baltimore. And even last year, with the modest talents of J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, just a street free agent right now, Roman still had a top 10 run percentage last year. So this team wants to run the ball. The question is, would you take Omarion Hampton on your team if you needed to start him week 1? And if you're taking him in round 3, he's got to be a week 1 starter for you.
Well, the answer is yes, because I took him in the 2nd round right before Matthew Berry, and I sniped him. And I got a text message. He thought it was personal. I think it was great value still. I think round 3 it's way too late right now for Hampton for all the reasons you just listed off. If Najee Harris was fully healthy, different story. But right now, I took him kind of mid to late 2nd round, and he was the best running back on the board in my mind. He's got the week 12 bye, which is a bonus. I mean, you listed all positives to me. Like 3rd round is a steal. He should not be making it past the 2-3 turn in my mind right now. And I think that ADP will correct itself as time goes by a little bit. But I'm in at that tag all day. So I reached around on Hampton. And Matthew Berry, if you see this, it was not personal. It was not out of spite. It was strategic.
All right. I'm in at Hampton. I would not reach around. I would not go round 2, but at pick 45, round 3, I'm in as well. If there's one position that can start fast, it is the running back position, typically. All right, let's go to the next player taken by you, the drafting public, in Guillotine League drafts based on the ADP being generated at guillotineleagues.com. And that is Denver running back RJ Harvey. ADP is 58. That is round 4. And it's a very different story here in my mind, Brian. This is an already murky Denver running back situation that got turned upside down a little bit Saturday when RJ Harvey got the majority of the first team reps in the preseason game. He played on 12 of the 13 first and second downs that Denver had. But then later we found out that J.K. Dobbins had some kind of a helmet issue and may not have been available for those plays or something. I don't know what the whole story is there, but J.K. Dobbins took third down reps, and that's a little odd. And depending on who you
Sean
ask,
McVay's offense, you don't say.
I know. Unpredictable. Harvey has either looked in that preseason game, depending on who you ask, Harvey either looked brilliant or he looked like garbage. That's very polarizing as people look at how he played so far. I think a lot of Guillotine managers just have PTSD over Denver's backfield because last year, 4 guys were getting irregular touches in that backfield. And then what are you supposed to think of this one? It's really a very murky situation. I mentioned this on last week's Chop, Brian. Alvin Kamara, a Hall of Famer, potentially, on a Hall of Fame pace right now, took until mid-October to get more than 7 carries in a game from Sean Payton.
Wow.
All right, pick number 58, round 4, RJ Harvey. Are you putting him on your own roster?
No, not on draft day. He's the guy I'll be keeping an eye on. Give me the vet, give me Dobbins all day at a cheaper cost. That's an easy one for me. Again, for all the reasons you just laid out there. It's dicey to bank on Harvey in week 1. And they're at home against Tennessee. You'll have to refresh my memory. They've had a stout run defense in the past. I think that's kind of gone by the wayside, but it doesn't matter really the opponent. You just the workload way too unpredictable for Harvey in week 1, especially with Sean Payton. And God forbid Harvey fumbles, that's lights out probably for that game, right?
It could be for a while. Absolutely. Absolutely true. Okay, Brian, let's go to the next rookie that's going in your ADP, not you personally. This is the listeners, your ADPs in Guillotine League drafts. And that's Carolina wide receiver Tetairoa McMillan.
Tetairoa. T-Mac. Let's go by T-Mac. It's the
ADP 63, round number 4.
Yeah, I love T-Mac, but I love the whole Carolina passing game. Adam Thielen still there, got gas in the tank. Xavier Legette having a great camp, but he's getting pressed by Jalen Coker, who is just making highlight after highlight reel catch, and Jimmy Horn Jr., Joe Horn's son.
Yes,
us old guys.
Remember great.
The cell phone game hidden in the padding on the goalpost. Yeah, Jimmy Horn Jr. snatching soles and breaking ankles in practice. I'm blanking on someone else. That Hunter Renfrow gonna
Adam
be on
Thielen.
the team.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of mouths to feed, and I love them all. But so T-Mac's going to start, but it's a lot of targets to spread around. And man, I want a piece of this passing game. And week 14 by the way, big boon for all the Panthers players. But I'm exploring the cheaper options. Thielen mainly. Thielen feels the most reliable as long as he's on the team. And if he gets traded somewhere else, it's because they really want him, like the Minnesota Vikings, perhaps.
Yeah.
I love T-Mac, but could be a slow start. We saw a slow start from Marvin Harrison last year and other rookie wide receivers in the past. So I am out on T-Mac at ADP on draft day.
How weird is it, Brian, that we're talking about the Panthers as having potentially the deepest set of wide receivers in the league? They're going to have to cut somebody really good.
I know. It's crazy.
It is crazy. They've turned that thing around in a big way. Xavier Legette's kind of interesting, not related to this podcast, but he's getting a lot of first team reps as well. But I'm with you. I love Tet McMillan. If this were standard drafts, I'd be all over his ADP of 63, round 4. But in this format, too many variables, too many other mouths to feed. And I worry about that in every situation. The real answer here for Carolina, Brian, might be draft Bryce Young.
Oh, yeah.
Slough that quarterback position, draft Bryce Young. I thought he looked fantastic in that first preseason game and picked up right where he left off in the second half of last year when he looked really, really good.
Oh, yeah. The other show we do, Fantasy Football Weekly, I predicted he was going to be a top 10 quarterback. It was a bold prediction, but I felt there's some merit there. We like really bad defense in Carolina. At least it was last season. I don't know if it's going to make the huge jump, so bad defense, always good for fantasy football on the other side.
Brian, my Guillotine League rankings are at fantasylife.com. I don't know there's very many places to get Guillotine League rankings, but I've got mine and specifically built for this use case. If people would like to save 20% off on the price of Fantasy Life Plus and get my Guillotine League rankings, what could they do?
Oh, you're going to throw it to my code again? I appreciate you. You can use promo code BTXJ. And now we had a listener use it, and he tweeted me his proof of purchase. I didn't even ask that, but I said I would do something nice for him, and I did.
Well, here's your shout out.
And I don't have it in front of me. So, but anyway, promo code BTXJ. Tons of awesome tools on Fantasy Life Plus. Save 20%. We use it every day, and if you use it, you might get a little special something from me as well. Just hit me up on Twitter at BTXJ. Shockingly, it's the same.
I'd like to
thanks for that
special
charge
from you, Brian.
I will. Okay,
let's go to.
You got to charge always. You know it. Anything you want.
Once
the camera turns off, you let me know.
Deal. Let's go to our next player by you, the drafting public's Guillotine ADP. The next rookie up is Jacksonville wide receiver Travis Hunter, going 2 picks later, also in the 4th round, pick 65. Travis Hunter, Jacksonville's 2-way rookie wide receiver. What are your thoughts here, Brian?
No chance. I'm taking Travis Hunter in a Guillotine League. I'm not taking a guy in the 1st round, as credible as he may be on the offensive side of the ball, who's going to be playing on defense where he could get hurt, obviously. It just kind of overall going to hinder his offensive performance. It will, because I don't know. I know he's a young guy. I don't know. It's a total fade for me in Guillotine Leagues. And Carolina, I'm sorry, wrong big cat. The Jaguars hope to be competitive this year. Say they're in some competitive games early on, and he's more important on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. Yep.
Like they're going to deploy him on defense. Like we need his defense more than his, like there's that risk. So like speaking of like the ultimate, who knows, like what, I mean, he's going to play a lot of offense, but no, I'm drafting someone in this spot that is 100% an offensive player if I'm in a Guillotine League. It's that simple for me. I'm sorry. I hate to make it that cut and dry. I don't have any cool underlying stats for you or anything, but I want 100% wide receiver.
Yes, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I'm with you on this with Travis Hunter, although I like him, I think, more than you do. And I just think it's really fun to have Travis Hunter on my rosters. But I'm saving that fun not for a Guillotine League. That is fun to be had in a standard league. Too many variables, and you outlined them very well, Brian, on Travis Hunter. We are both out at anywhere near his ADP of 65. Let's go 2 spots down from there. Yet another 4th round guy, and not our last rookie. New England running back TreVeyon Henderson moving up draft boards swiftly after a big first preseason game. Scored a touchdown, as you probably already know, 100-yard touchdown on a kick return. First time he had touched the ball. He's the Patriots' 2nd round pick. He had, in addition to the 100-yard kickoff return, he had a very fast run down the left sidelines for 18 yards. It was his only carry. And then he caught 3 passes as well. I mean, it was just a great debut for TreVeyon Henderson. But I'm going to be the wet blanket, Brian. Ramondre Stevenson, 7 carries with that first team offense. Mm-hmm. Henderson had 1. This is setting up as a thunder and lightning situation with both guys getting a maybe an even split, and it might even tilt towards Stevenson, the veteran, early on. You know, Josh McDaniels is at a workhorse back in one of his 18 years as offensive coordinator or head coach. One time. That's it. The other 17, it's been a split backfield. Split workload timeshares are dangerous. And here's Henderson. It's round 4. I think it's just too early. I love this kid and I love his talent. For Guillotine, this is too dangerous until we see how this shakes out. Brian, I would not put a round 4 pick. That's a pick that's got to be a starter in my Guillotine League. Brian, I can't put him on my roster at ADP 67.
Yeah, I'm with you. As awesome as that kickoff return was, you're not letting a rookie running back who you plan on using as a bell cow return a kickoff like on the first play of a preseason game.
Adrian Peterson returned kicks his rookie year. Briefly.
Brad Childress was also that head coach, right? How did that go for those who remember Brad Childress? But yeah, I'm out on Henderson. You can get more trusted backs after TreVeyon. Looking at guys like James Conner, Chuba Hubbard before James Conner, Tony Pollard likely going after TreVeyon Henderson, who's getting steamed up from that kickoff return. People are like super hyped about it. But no, I'm with you. I'm out at this ADP in the Guillotine League.
Producer Matt, will you Google up Brad Childress and see what he's doing these days? I'm curious. What's Brad Childress? For a little while, he was a consultant after he wasn't a head coach any longer. I'm curious. If you find something interesting, let us know.
If you want to, I know what all I know about Mike Tice, who preceded Childress, right? Wherever he's at, he's got a pencil in his ear. That's all I know about Mike Tice. He's always had the pencil in the ear.
I'm always grateful to Mike Tice. Sorry to segue, because the day of the draft, in what would ultimately be the Kevin Williams draft, where the Vikings missed their pick, that morning he called into my show on KFAN the day of the draft, and we talked draft strategy that morning. And I always thought that was super cool. He didn't have to do that, and he tipped his hand a pretty big tip on what they were going to do, which was very interesting as well. So I've always been a fan of Mike Tice.
Yeah, Matt said AD all day, Adrian. He split touches his rookie year. He's right. It was Chester Taylor, right?
Chester Taylor
stealing the touches.
Yes. I mean, look, if Adrian Peterson was in a timeshare, why not TreVeyon Henderson, right? Yep. Absolutely. Well done, producer Matt. Brian, the next rookie being taken by you, the drafting public, and ADP in Guillotine Leagues, Pittsburgh running back Kaleb Johnson, ADP is 71, round 4. A very mundane showing in the first preseason game, but you don't want to read too much into that.
Not too much, but 8 carries, 20 yards. It was like an extended look. He dropped a target, hit him in the chest. So not an impressive showing. He's got the Jets in week 1. That's a brutal matchup for all Steelers involved. But I don't know. We said it many times. Unless you're Ashton Jeanty, who we expect bell cow usage, you can never predict what a rookie's going to get. And Mike Tomlin seems like the kind of coach who's going to lean on Jaylen Warren a little more in a rock fight.
I think
game.
He likes his vets. Yeah.
You need pass protection against the Jets. So quite simply, no, out on Kaleb Johnson on draft day in Guillotine Leagues. That's a pretty easy one for me.
I think it's easy as well. Let's move on. The next one, Green Bay wide receiver Matthew Golden. His ADP is 95. He's going up the board round 6. So a big gap. We just talked about 5 players going in the 4th round, then no rookie until round 6. So Matthew Golden, what do you think about him? Is he somebody that you would put into your own Guillotine League roster?
Well, it's worth noting, news broke today, Jordan Love had a procedure on his non-throwing hand, his left thumb, should be ready for week 1. So we'll go under that assumption that he's ready by week 1. We're going back to the Vikings because we have Minnesota history. Yours is longer than mine, Charge. But I remember a rookie by the name of Christian Watson, who's still on the team, was placed on the PUP list today as well. Mm-hmm. His debut against the Minnesota Vikings, very first play, 60 air yards in the breadbasket from Aaron Rodgers. Dropped it. Would have walked in for a touchdown. Christian Watson. Now, I'm not saying Matthew Golden is going to do that. Matthew Golden will likely start week 1. But a lot of mouths to feed in Green Bay, too. And Jayden Reed, he's kind of dinged up. He's not really a threat on the perimeter, so he's not really threatening Golden's job there. But I don't know, Romeo Dobbs, Dontavius Wicks, Tucker Kraft, nice tight end. They love to run the ball. This is just another instance of we got to see how many targets Golden's going to get in his debut in his first few weeks. Can't draft him as a starter. There's more reliable guys going later than him. So just another instance of a rookie that I am out on draft.
Same, out on him as well. In Guillotine, my main concern is Golden's very modest and thin college resume, which could portend a slower acclimation to the NFL. Golden never topped 38 receptions in college until his senior year, and it was still only 58 receptions, which just isn't that much, especially for a first-round wide receiver.
Yeah.
By way of comparison, a guy we're going to talk about in a minute, Emeka Egbuka, had 60 more catches for 1,000 more yards in college than Golden did. That's basically giving Egbuka an entire season of extra experience that Golden doesn't have. So I see a very inconsistent start for Golden here. And like you, I'm out. But let's transition to Emeka Egbuka. So we've talked about him on the Chop podcast already. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. I'm just going to hit on the bullet points because I know many of our listeners have already heard it. Chris Godwin, unlikely to be ready at the start of the season, probably on the PUP list. Egbuka, as I just mentioned, the most NFL-ready receiver in this draft class. Tons of reps at Ohio State against great defenses. And new offensive coordinator in Tampa, Josh Grizzard, said he's just going to run a very similar offense to Liam Cohen because if it's not broke, don't fix it. And Cohen's offense featured Chris Godwin in the slot last year, and Egbuka's going to walk right into that role. So Egbuka at ADP 109, round 7. 109, round 7. What do you think?
Definitely snatch him up at that price. I think that ADP is still correcting as we speak as well, but his volume seems like it should be safe when we're talking like the 6-7 targets. I'll take that as the guy you'll be drafting, as a rookie you'll be drafting, as your probably as a flex player, maybe a wide receiver too, because again, Guillotine Leagues are very deep, 18 teams. But yeah, if I'm getting Egbuka. Why? I've never struggled with that before. I'm just going to call it a day there. I'll take that price tag all day long.
I'm with you. I think that's a pretty good buy in round 7. So we've got one player left, and right now I think we got 3 rookies we're willing to put on our roster. Let's see if we can make it 4. The 10th player that you are drafting, rookies in Guillotine, Houston wide receiver Jaden Higgins, ADP 127, round number 8. The first preseason game for Houston didn't yield very much here. Higgins didn't get a lot of first team reps, and John Mechie did. That, despite being listed as the starter on Houston's depth chart, Higgins is, but he didn't start here, and that's just sort of, typical preseason chicanery from coaches. Higgins expected to start sooner than later, and he's got a super easy pathway to playing time. All he's got to do is get by John Mechie, as opposed to Jalen Noel, his teammate, who is logjammed at the slot with Christian Kirk. That's not something you want to have any part of. I think the only question here is, how long does it take for Jaden Higgins to start and get consistent production? So, to me, I don't feel as confident, even though I like Higgins a lot. I don't feel as confident here. Round 8 is not a lot of great players in round 8, and I think you could probably do worse, but I could still get a good tight end on my roster, like Jake Ferguson or Dallas Goedert on my roster in round 8. I don't know that I'm going to go to a rookie and hope that he's one of the rare guys who starts well. So I think I'm out on Jaden Higgins, even with a round 8 draft position. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I'm all out on Higgins. Nico Collins is going to demand a ton of targets, of course, but it's really because of Christian Kirk, who you can get well after Jaden Higgins. I'm a huge Christian Kirk fan. Went down last year, season-ending injury, but that was early on. He'll be back. He's looking great in camp. They're calling him the slot monster. Gotta love that.
Yeah.
So I think they're leaning on Kirk a lot. I mean, I love Kirk so much. I got some good coin on him, comeback player of the year. If you can get him 150 to 1.
Wow. Okay. Oh,
not financial advice, but
no. In fact, I think that's bad financial advice.
Why you don't think? Why could Christian Kirk not win comeback player?
Christian Kirk to win comeback player of the year. Christian Kirk would have to be sitting on the best season of his career by a mile.
No, he didn't have to have the best season of his career.
Yeah, he'd have to have like 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns to win comeback player of the year. Think of what Sam Darnold just did as he barely won as a top 10 quarterback.
Well, no, Joe Burrow won, didn't he? Sam Darnold wasn't.
Darnold won comeback.
No,
he
didn't.
Last year.
No, he didn't. Because he wasn't injured.
Are you sure?
He wasn't injured. I'm positive.
No, but he won it anyway, even because he wasn't injured.
Burrow.
Is it Burrow? All right, I'm being told I'm wrong. All right, fine.
Charge.
I'll accept this.
I'm wearing a Sam Darnold jersey, man.
Yeah,
Come
you
on.
would know. You would know.
I'm a sicko. But anyway.
Christian Kirk's current ADP, by the way, same round. 8th round. But you're right. Higgins is going first. And I think you're right that they've got the order mixed on this one.
All right.
I'd rather have
We
the
can agree on that.
consistency of Kirk. Remember this, Houston traded for Kirk. And that's different. You know, when you give up equity to get a guy, you've got intent to use him.
Yeah.
I'm with you on this. I'd rather have Kirk. All right. So the players we were in on, Emeka Egbuka, that's a rookie that we're willing to roster. We decided yes on Omarion Hampton, yes on Ashton Jeanty, 3 out of 7.
That's probably a record for us.
Yeah, we probably won't get all 3 right. But I think that's as much as we can do. Again, last year, 4 guys taken, Jaden Daniels, there were 4 rookies that were consistent fantasy producers. Jaden Daniels, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers. They all went in the first half of the first round of the draft.
Yeah, there are just so many. I mean, the running back class was so deep this year. I mean, looking at later round guys, and some that no one even were talking about during the draft, but Bill, Ja'Cory Krosky, Merritt, of course.
Yeah.
I get like DJ Giddens is one injury away from Jonathan Taylor from bell cow usage likely. And he's probably going to have standalone value. Woody Marks is probably going to have a big role. Taj Brooks looks like the backup in Cincinnati. These are all guys you can get after the first 8 rounds, and they could pop off immediately. So, long story short, this was a long story, but we had fun on this podcast. You're pretty much out on rookies except those select few.
I will self-edit. Brian Thomas picked 23 of the draft last year. So all 4 of the rare rookies that were able to hit last year were in pick 23 or earlier of the entire draft. Yep. Wow. And, that puts us in range for Jeanty and only Jeanty out of our list of guys that we're interested in. So they'll need to buck some trends. I think Hampton could do it. I think Egbuka could do it because of their unique landing spots and the opportunity that they've got. Brian, it's been a ton of fun. I appreciate your help. Everybody, we encourage you to go to guillotineleagues.com. 3 ways to play. Free public leagues. If you just want to dip your toe in the water, add a couple of leagues. Free private leagues to play with your friends, and paid leagues for prizing if available in your state. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll be back on Thursday for more Chop, the Guillotine League podcast.